In the spring and the summer months, we often spend a great deal of time in our yard making sure that everything looks good, especially the grass.
But did you know the fall is the most crucial time of year when it comes to lawn care, especially as the days get shorter and the temperatures get cooler? Brian Spiros went to the folks at R&L Irrigation Services in Seaford to find out what's expected of you in the coming weeks when it comes to your grass.
Everyone wants that perfect looking lawn. But the truth is, it takes a great deal of dedication to get your yard looking like a golf course. And now's the time to make sure that happens.
But this is the time of the year where you actually put the nutrients in the yard to get it through the winter time, and you're preparing the grass for next summer season in the fall by building a strong root system during the winter time.
Ricky Williams is the CEO of R&L Irrigation Services in Seaford. He says there are some key things people should be paying close attention to this time of year.
Fall is the time to rebuild your yard after the heat and the stress of the summertime. So you always want to use a good fertilizer that's going to give you a strong root system for next year. Brings the color out in the yard so it looks nice for the fall season. But at the same time, you know, fall is the season where you want to touch up some stress spots in the yard. Maybe some spots have died. Reseed those areas. You know, fall is the building blocks for next year.
And Ricky says the fall is a great time to reseed because there's less interference from weeds.
There's 2 or 3 different ways you can fix those patches. You can spot seed. You can do, reseed the whole yard if you want to. And I think what I need to stress here the most about reseeding your yard is use good quality seed and use the same seed year after year after year.
R&L Irrigation Services is able to come in and take care of the seeding using different machines that get the job done efficiently. Like this one here. It puts the seeds right down in the soil, but also dethatches the lawn.
That's where you actually pull all the dead grass out that accumulated over the summertime. And it helps, lets the ground breathe, helps the seed come up, just aerates the yard.
Now let's talk about the one thing the fall is known for, those colorful leaves. And as many of us know, they eventually end up all over the yard.
Leaves are very detrimental to a lawn. You never want any leaves to stay on the yard no longer than 4 or 5 days. You want to blow them off because what the leaves do is they actually block the sunlight. And we need the sunlight for the grass to make it green and make it grow.
That sunlight is also helping grow a strong root system which the grass needs heading into the winter. Now let's talk about cutting the lawn. Ricky says in the fall, think of it as a trim. He adds you shouldn't be cutting the grass less than 3.5 inches and will probably have to keep the mower out well into November. While weeds can be a nuisance, Ricky says there's one in particular that can pose a problem on Delmarva in the fall.
This time of the year, really there's only one major weed we have to worry about. That's the clover, okay? Clover is a wintertime weed. You want to knock it down if you can. If it's really, really thick, knock it down, reseed those areas. But really your weed control, if you've got a nice thick lawn, weeds are not an issue during the fall. Really when it's an issue is in the spring.
For some people, the weeding, seeding, fertilizing, and cutting can be a lot of work. That's why Ricky says a lot of people will call him in to do the job, like Lensario of Seaford. His lawn resembles a plush carpet.
It's a lot of confidence in knowing that it's going to be done and done right, in the fall, in the winter, and in the spring and summer. All 4 seasons, there's things that have to be done that, frankly, I just don't have the time or the energy to do.
Ricky says the other benefit of having a professional come in, the job gets done right.
When you do that and you do it at the right time of the year, usually you don't have a thing to worry about unless Mother Nature really takes a turn for the worst. But if you miss one critical step during the fall season or during the spring season, you can actually lose the whole yard because of it.
And Ricky says in the fall and winter, he's also very busy installing irrigation systems. He adds that if you're thinking of having one installed, now is the time to do it. This way, it's in place and ready to go before the dry and hot summer weather arrives. And it will keep your lawn and landscaping looking healthy. So now that we know the ins and outs of irrigation, what are we going to put around the house, in the yard, and up and down the drive?
Well, trees can always make everything beautiful, but only if you plan carefully. Now, today's Angie's List report helps you with the answers to the questions you should be asking before selecting or planting your trees.
Trees are a great asset. They can add up to 15% to the value of your home if they're well maintained. But when planning and planting them, you need to be sure that you're accounting for what they're going to be like when they're full grown. Sometimes people make the mistake of putting them too close to their driveway or to their home, which could cause their driveway to buckle or their foundation to crack.
Once you've found the ideal location, it's time to select a healthy tree.
The most important thing really is the framework of the tree, the wood part. A good, clean, straight trunk and a good, even branching habit. More important than anything else is the framework, because it's going to be there year after year.
Trees are usually sold as bare root or in a root ball or container.
When it's in a pot, it has its entire root system underneath of it in the pot, whereas a bald one has been cut and dug up out of a field. So it hasn't got all of its roots by any means, and it has to spend the first 2 years regenerating all of its roots. Whereas a tree in a pot immediately can start growing on top where the customer wants to see it grow.
Gatewood says a common mistake he sees is the planting depth. The top of the soil in the pot should be exactly level with the soil in your lawn. A tiny bit above won't hurt, but an inch or two deep can hurt the tree.
You never want the grass to grow around the trunk of the tree. So always take out a big circle of sod, 4 to 6 feet in diameter, plant the tree in the middle, mulch it.
When it comes to mulch, don't pot it up along the trunk because the mulch stays moist and that attracts insects and causes rot. And Gatewood says newly planted trees should get an inch of water a week. Yeah, you got this, right? Okay, first you need to be honest with yourself. Is this a do-it-yourself project that you can handle, or should you call in the professionals? Contact a certified arborist if you need help selecting the perfect tree. Check for membership in professional organizations like the International Society of Arboriculture. Before you start digging, call Miss Utility to mark where things are underground so you don't have an unnecessary mishap. And pick your trees carefully so you don't have tall trees that'll eventually have to be cut off because they're growing under power lines or other tall trees. Oh, and by the way, fruit trees, very nice. Keep them away from the driveway, though. It doesn't take too much imagination to figure out what they do to the pavement, or for that matter, to your car.
All those lessons I learned the hard way.
Did you really?
Yes.
Well, there you go. You got it the easy way. Still ahead on Delmarva Life, the series premiere of Dads kicks off in just a few hours at 8 o'clock on our sister station, Fox 21. We're going to hear from one of the stars of the show, Vanessa Lachey.
Yeah, Vanessa will also share with us how she's adjusting to life with a little one and how she manages to balance a family and career. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.